Welcome to everyone that's joining. Hello. I'm just gonna give it another minute for the other people to start joining. My name is Aisha Zahir. I'm a maths teacher and tutor by profession, and in this live session, so I do these weekly, we are going to be looking at the higher grade 7 to 9 GCSE mini test 2. Okay, so this specifically looks at higher like the higher plus topics. Okay, so probably for the higher end. Do you teach any other subjects? Sorry, beauty 784. No, I don't. I just teach maths. Okay. If you are looking for tutoring, to get you prepared over the holidays and sort of get you ready for next year, especially if you're entering year 10 or year 11, then I highly suggest that you contact me through inbox. I have limited slots available for tuition. Okay. So beauty 7864 1-to-1, I charge £35 an hour. Okay. Any other questions, let me know, everyone. And I'm going to begin the paper and looking through it. Okay, we've already started it, so like I mentioned, we've done a few of these in the previous live sessions. Okay, so I'm going to begin. We stopped at question number 7, which was a bounds question. Okay, so now I'm going to go over to question number 8, which you can see is a graph, speed, distance and time graph, but the question is not got anything to do with speed, distance or time. As you can see, it's a question on acceleration. Okay, thank you for the likes, everyone. Keep double tapping the screen as well, sharing the live with others, especially year 10 students or even year 9, just to get them ready for the GCSEs next year. Okay, and if you're anywhere below year 9, it can still be helpful for you to see what a GCSE paper sort of looks like. Okay, right, so I'm going to take a look at this question number 8, and it says to calculate the acceleration in the first 20 seconds only. Okay, so that means we are looking at, I have my highlighter. Okay, I don't, but I will just sort of outline the first 20 seconds is looking at this right angle triangle here. Okay, this one that I've sort of drawn. So we're looking at this part of the graph, okay, the first triangle. And acceleration, all it is does anyone know what acceleration is before I go ahead and explain? Any ideas? So it's saying the acceleration in the first 20 seconds, okay. Any ideas from anyone? Nope. Okay, I'll answer my own question. So acceleration just seems to measure acceleration. It's just measuring the gradient of a speed, distance and time graph. Okay, so you're looking at the gradient of I'm going to write down speed, distance, SDT for short, graph. Okay, so because we've been told the time, it's just the first 20 seconds, so from 0 to 20, we're going to take a look at the change in the speed. So remember, gradient, if you might remember, is just a measure of a change in speed. Okay, so in this case, if we take a look at that first triangle, it's going to be looking at working out the gradient of the line over here. Okay, so the gradient is just your rise over your run. Okay, get my blue pen up. So gradient, it's called usually M when we look at linear graphs. Okay, but in this case, I'm just going to write down M as well. It is the rise over run. Okay, and my rise here is the change in my y axes. Okay, so you can see it's gone from 45 to 0, so the rise is just 45. Okay, the speed, and then my run is your x-axis. Okay, and looking at the change over there, so it's just not from 0 to 20, so that means it's just going to be 20. And now it's a case of dividing your rise over your run, so that's your 45 divided by your 20. Okay, so it is always rise over run. If you do it the other way around, your answer will become, you know, different depending on your numbers, but you know, it just won't be accurate. So rise over run means it's got to be 45 divided by 20. Okay, which I hope you can see this, just equals, if you simplify that fraction, you will get 9/4. Okay, because they're both multiples of 5 meters per second. We can't really simplify that any further, so it could be 9/4, or if you want to change it to a decimal, it will be 2.25 meters per second, and it's squared. Okay, so acceleration, the units are meters per second squared. Thank you for the roses, HK. Welcome to everyone else that is joining. We're just going through a GCSE paper. Feel free to join and leave any comments, questions, even if you want to suggest topics and pick topics for the next live session, then you can become a subscriber and you get that sort of the brightness gone. You get that sort of privilege of selecting the live session topic. Okay. So yeah, become a subscriber. You even get access to subscriber only chats as well, where you can ask me questions, you know, whenever you feel like, about, of course, maths, and I can, you know, help to look through anything that you want me to check in terms of your working out, even homework, anything that might be on your mind in terms of maths. Okay. Now we can take a look at question number 9, which is a circle question. So a circle has the following equation: x squared plus y squared equals 7. Write down the coordinates of the center of the circle. Okay, what do we think the center of the circle coordinates might be? Any ideas from anyone? Thank you for the likes. Olivia, are you still there? Olivia, come. Welcome to everyone that is joining. Welcome, welcome. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and answer the question. So the coordinates of the center of my circle here are going to be 0, 0. Okay. And if you are looking at the part B, it's asking write down the exact length of the radius of the circle. Okay, so the length of the radius of my circle is usually looking at this the number after your equal sign. Okay, that usually tells us the radius's length. So here it is 7, but what we usually do is we square root that to work out the radius. Okay, so that means that the radius is going to be square root of 7. Okay. Because the format for the center, for the equation of a circle is as follows. It's usually written as x squared plus y squared equals c squared. Okay, c being just the other part after the equal sign. But in this case, there's no squared on top of the 7, so that means we're going to write it as square root of 7. So that if you were to do square root of 7 squared, you'd get back to 7. Okay. If you're understanding this so far, please give the screen a double tap, share it with others as well. Thank you for the likes, everyone, and the follows. Keep it coming, and of course join in as well and let me know if you have any questions. Okay, and going over to question number 10 now. it is looking at the coordinates of the maximum point of the curve are 2 and -5. Write down the coordinates of the maximum point of the curve with equation y equals f of x plus 2. Okay, in this case, f of x is still this curve over here, okay, that they've mentioned about, and your job now is to work out the coordinates of it after 2 has been added to that curve, okay, but outside the brackets, not inside the function f of x. Well, if that is the case, that means the plus 2 outside my brackets suggests that there's a change of 2 being added to it in your y direction, okay, so in your vertical direction. So if I do this arrow, it is going to tell you that if it's a positive sign, that means the graph is going to be moving up the curve, okay. If it's a negative sign, it suggests that my curve is going to actually be moving down, okay. Well, in this case, it's a plus 2, so that means that it's a change of the curve being lifted 2 times up. In that case, that means I'm going to add 2 to the y coordinate only of the maximum point, okay, because it's been lifted up by 2. So that means it becomes 2, x coordinate doesn't change, and it goes from -5 to -3, because -5 plus 2, okay, -5 plus 2 is actually -3. Okay, and that was all for this question, so it's not too difficult, this one. It's just remembering the rules with your curves, okay, translation. So what's happening when it's a plus 2 outside, what's happening if the plus 2 was inside my brackets with the f of x, okay. That would suggest a change in, does anyone know which direction, y or x? If we've been listening to the previous part, we might know this bit. Okay, so it suggests a change in the x direction. Okay, welcome to everyone that is joining now. This live session is a session about grade 7 to 9 topics of a GCSE mini test, okay, that you can easily get from Maths Genie. All right, so if you go ahead, you can go and download that now and take it and be doing it with me as well. Okay, superb revision method, and a really good way to get you started for next year if you're going to be entering year 10, year 11. Okay, and now we're going to flip over to go to the next question. Any questions from anyone, please feel free to leave them in the comments. Double tap the screen if you're understanding, and also don't be afraid of taking part, okay. I am here to answer your questions as well about any of these topics and to offer you support as well. So if you have any topic suggestions, anything that you are sort of struggling with, please let me know in the comments. Also join my subscribers community. I would love to have you on there, and you can choose the live topic, okay, once you become a subscriber. You can also have access to subscriber only chats, okay, and that would really benefit you as well, because you can ask me any sort of maths related questions on there. So please hit the subscribe button today and become a subscriber. Okay, so question 11 we are going to take a look at now is to do with proof. Okay, so it's actually a proof question. It says, prove algebraically that the sum of the squares of any two even positive integers is always a multiple of 4. Okay, so that means we've got to show, by using a bit of algebra and our knowledge of even positive integers, how the sum of the squares of these two integers is always going to be a multiple of 4. Okay, this means to be able to be confident with proof questions, you've got to have a good understanding of course, your basic things like number, algebra, how it's used, how do you set up expressions, equations, formulae, etc. Okay, so I'm going to guide you through this step by step. So because they've told us the sum of the squares of any two even positive integers. Well, we can first of all start by breaking this down. Okay, so first they've mentioned the sum, so that means I need an add sign between two of my integers. Then they've suggested that it's the squares of any two integers, positive integers. That means that's my integer 1, that's my integer 2. Okay, right now I don't know what they are, but it's going to be the sum of the squares, so I need to add my little square symbols there. Okay, next it's two even positive integers. Okay, because it's even, does anyone know what even integers always have to have a property for even integers? Anyone? Okay, so even integers are always a multiple of 2. Okay, so that means whatever I choose here, so I'm going to choose it to be 2n, okay, as my first positive integer. I've got to have it being multiplied by 2 because it is a multiple of 2. That is the only way it can be a an even integer. Okay, next I've got to have 2m over here. Not I've got to, but I've got to have 2 and then any letter I could pick, A, B, C, X, Y, Z, anything that you prefer. Thank you for the likes. Who has been liking so far? Can't see who's liked. It's sort of gone. Thank you for the follows as well, everyone. We are going through this GCSE maths mini test higher. Okay, so now I've written these two down, and I've got to now sort of prove that the sum of these two is going to be a multiple of 4. Okay, so the way in which I can do that is by sort of simplifying my expression here, and hopefully it should end with it being a multiple of 4. Okay, that's our aim. If we don't get to that bit, that means we've done something wrong with our proof. So if I go ahead and expand this and simplify, so 2n squared, well, I've got to square my 2 first and then my n. Okay, so 2 squared becomes 4. N squared just remains as n squared now without my brackets, plus sign remains, and now here again 2 squared is 4 and m squared is just m squared. Well, now I can see, okay, I've got a common multiple or factor of 4. So 4 is being multiplied by n squared and by m squared. So what I can do is pull that 4 out and sort of factorize this expression. Okay, so it becomes 4n squared plus m squared. This tells us, okay, the reason I have factorized here is that it tells me that my number here, so n squared plus m squared, whatever that will be, is always got to have a 4 as its factor. Okay, so this proves to us that the sum of any two even integers is going to be always a multiple of 4, because that 4 is there outside the bracket. Okay, regardless of what n and m is going to be. Alright, so that is that question, and then we have a probability question coming up. Welcome to everyone that's joining. Double tap the screen and let me know in the comments if you have any questions so far. Please do take part as well. We have been going through this higher GCSE excuse me, mini test. Okay. If you've got any questions about any of this, guys, please let me know in the comments. And become a subscriber today so that you get access to subscriber only lives as well as chats, okay, where I can really help you out with any maths related stuff. And you also get to pick the topic of the live sessions as well. Okay, so lots of perks there. You can read the full list of the benefits you get as a subscriber. So join my community today. Okay, welcome to everyone that is joining. While I'm sort of chatting away, have a read through this question 12 and see what you think about it, and let me know in the comments what might we be needing to do for this. I'm going to grab a different piece of paper for us to do our working out on. This is going to be question number 12. Okay, to do with our probability. So if you've got any ideas about, what's going to happen with this question, then please leave them in the comments. Okay, I'm going to go through the questions now. I can see some people have just quietly been watching. We've got someone with the name of Y, I think. Not quite sure who this person is that's watching. But feel free to, comment and take part in the live session. Because remember, when you take part, that really helps you to learn. And it also helps others. And it also helps me as well to see who's following along, and just makes it a good experience for all of us. Okay, I think we've got a shy bunch of people today, so I'm going to start off this next question, and if you want to take part, you are more than welcome to. So let's read the question first. Question number 12 is saying there are 10 counters in a bag, 5 are red, 3 are blue, 2 are green. Billy takes 2 counters at random from the bag. Work out the probability that both of the counters he takes are the same color. Okay, so that means we've got to start by drawing our tree diagrams, and since they've talked about 2 counters being taken, that means he's picked 1 counter and then 2. Takes 2 counters at random from the bag, and it also says he doesn't replace them, so that's important information for us. And also, ideally we should be just getting these with a pencil and ruler, okay, so that this doesn't happen. Right, so if I go back there are 3 different options, which means I actually need 3 branches coming out of my tree. So that means 1, 2 and 3 as follows. So this is gonna be, I'm gonna say pick 1 or option 1. Okay, you can give it any heading you like. So option 1 or pick 1 is going to be, so this will be my R, my red counters, my blue counters, probability, and then my green. So they are all out of 10, because that's how many there are all together in the bag. 5 are red, so it's 5/10, that's going to be red. 3 out of 10 are blue. 2 out of 10 are going to be green. And now for pick 2, I need a branch coming out of each of these, okay, a tree coming out of each of these, and also bearing in mind that tree has got to have 3 branches as follows, okay. And also, since they've mentioned to us that he doesn't really put them back in, it doesn't replace them, that the denominator now is going to be 9 because 1's already been taken. So it's now 4 out of 9 here, because we're assuming that 1 red's been taken for this branch. For the second branch, it's still going to be 9 left, but there's no blue taken, so it's 3. So this is my R, this is my G, my B here, and this is my G, which is still 2 out of 9. Oh, I should have actually drawn this a bit bigger, I suppose, because now for this one I've not got enough space. Okay, I might go ahead and draw it again just to make it clearer for all of us. So a bigger one coming through. So the first tree is always good, and also change my headings to option 1. It is always a good idea to have a bigger tree, because you're gonna have 3 sections coming out of each of these. So we've got R, B, G. For R it's 5/10, so I'm gonna go ahead and fill this in very quickly. And here we've got another 3 branches coming out. B, G, another 3 branches coming from here, B, G, and then another 3 coming out from the G one. R, B, G. Okay, so they don't usually give you 3 colors, but here we are with the 3, which is why it's very long to draw that tree diagram. Okay, who is with me so far? Double tap the screen if you're understanding this and following. Any questions you've got, please leave them in the comments. Okay, share the live with others as well, guys. This will be really helpful for year 10s, as well as people who are about to go into year 11 next year. So if we fill in this one, we'll be left with 4 9ths, 3 9ths here, as I mentioned above, 2 9ths. Now in this one, if I picked a B, my R is going to still, red is going to stay as 5, so but it's be 5 9ths. Blue would now become 2 because we've already assumed that we took 1 from there, so it's 2 9ths. G would remain as 2 9ths. Here R is still going to be 5 and 9ths. B is going to be 3 because this time we've picked G, which is green, 3 9ths. And then here for lastly for G, it's out of 9, but we'll be left with 1 out of 9 because we've already picked, assuming that we've already picked G for the first option. So this I'm going to label it as option 2. Okay, now that I've got my tree diagram, I can go ahead and work out now the probability that both of the counters Billy takes are the same color. Okay, so now our job is to go ahead, find those probabilities. So that means 5 tenths, 4 9ths, we can multiply them together. 3 tenths, 1 blue and 1 blue, 2 9ths, we can go ahead and times them together, and then the 2 greens. Okay, so if we times these together and then add them, we can hopefully get our final answer. Okay, so we've got 5 out of 10 times by 4 out of 9. Thank you for the likes, Jack. If you have already worked out the answer, let me know in the comments. Okay, any other questions as well, let me know. Also, remind everyone again, if you want to pick the topic of the next live session, please join my subscribers community and you will get that privilege. Okay, and you can also have access to subscriber only live sessions as well, which is really good for us, just doing like, it's almost like a little mini tutoring session you get, but without that, you know, big pay, and it's also in a fun way as well because it's all online, on TikTok, you know, so it doesn't really seem like that you're revising, but you actually are, but in a different sort of environment and way. Okay, so I'll leave that up to you. Thank you for the shares as well, Jack, I appreciate that. So we've got 5 tenths times a 4 9ths, plus we've got 3 tenths times by 2 9ths. Let's get my time sign properly, plus my 2 10s times by my 9th, 1 over 9. Okay, now if I times them and then add them, so I got 5 times by 4 is 20 out of 90, plus 3 times 2 is 6 out of 90. So the remainders, you'll notice, are going to be the same for all of them. Okay, so that will make your addition now in the end very easy. They will always be the same anyway because you've always got the same 2 denominators that you're multiplying together. So out of 90 again, and it's just 2 as my numerator. So if I add them together, I should get 26 plus 2 is 28 out of 90. Okay, you could simplify this, okay, because I can spot that they're both even numbers, so they can easily half. They won't be in the 3 times table, no, but let's half them and see. That's always a good idea to do. So 14 out of 90's half is 45, and now I can't really spot any common factors, so I'm going to leave it as that. Okay, any of these 2 will be correct, unless they've specified give you answer in the simplest form. Okay, so that is the answer for that big long question there. Okay, so that is your 14 out of 45. Right, and then we've got some algebra now, which I do like, if I'm honest. Love algebra. Solving inequalities, quadratic inequalities, and then simultaneous equations. And we've got a bunch of more stuff. Who wants me to carry on, or are we done for the night? Not sure about you, but I am looking forward to a cup of tea. Okay, oops. Please solve and do it. Oh, all right, thank you. It's for the feedback. Jack of Ace. I'll go ahead and do that. Okay, so we'll get on to question number 13 then, really quickly. So we've got a quadratic on this side, and here we can see the inequality. So step one, whenever you've got inequality question, is just to ignore your inequality for now, for the time being, and treat it as a normal sort of equation. Okay, so I'm just going to treat it like a normal quadratic equation and replace the inequality with equals. Okay, now that you've done that, you can go ahead and try and solve it, okay, like a quadratic equation. And I'm going to do it normally, how I normally solve the quadratics, without any of the other stuff. Let's see if we can do it normally. If we can't, then we might have to use the formula or some other method, okay, that we typically use. So the way we do it, when the coefficient of x squared, if it's greater than 1, okay, so since this 2 is greater than 1, I'm going to use this different method, which I'll just specify. I'm going to take the 2 and, oh, can we see that? Yeah, I'm going to take the 2 and multiply it by my -4 here, okay, 2 times -4, and it becomes -8. Okay, now my job is going to be to find two numbers that make a product of -8, okay, but also add to give you -7. Okay, now that has always been the case with solving quadratics. Usually we just pick this number -4 and find the product of -4, two numbers that make product of -4, but add sum of -7. But because my coefficient is greater than 1, I've now had to multiply that by the -4 and then do my whole method. Okay, if that's made sense so far, double tap the screen and yeah, let me know if you are understanding it. Okay, brilliant, we are getting it. So -8, like if we write down the factors of it, we can have -1 and 8, or we could even have 8 and -8, -8 and +1 as well. And I feel like we've sort of cracked it. It would be this one so far. Oh, that's good to hear, Jack of Ace. Thank you for the feedback. Yeah, what I was saying is, it's looking, usually we have to list all the factors and try and cancel down if the numbers are a bit strange, but I can already spot that we've got -7, and these two numbers, if you add them, we can make -7. So if we or if you did it the other way around, if we do actually -8 plus 1, okay, if you change the symbols around, then we will get to -7, and if you multiply that, you'll also get that. Okay, so let's go ahead and do that. So now what I'm going to do is replace my -7 with these two factors that I've just worked out. Okay, so that means now we're going to keep everything else the same. So we've got 2x squared, -8x, replaced that with -7, plus x, just 1x, and -4 is still equal to 0. Okay, I'm going to put that on the side, and now it's a case of you solving your quadratic. Okay, so the way we solve this quadratic is, I like to divide it up in the middle as follows. So we've got 2 terms this side, 2 terms on the other side, and we also like to keep the signs with the specific terms, okay, to make my factorizing easier. And the next step is just factorize each side, and there you will be done. Okay, so 2x squared minus 8x, well, the highest common factor is 2 and x as well, okay, just 1x, not x squared. And then I've got x minus 8 inside my brackets. okay? And something doesn't seem right here. 2 times by negative 4 should be negative 8. Oh yes, it shouldn't be negative 8 here, and nobody told me yet that it should be negative 4, okay, because we just factorized. That's why I was wondering, because the the reason I'm doing this now and how I spotted my mistake is if your 2 brackets here and here do not match, that means your factorizing has gone wrong, okay, here especially, because these 2 brackets in this step of my working out should be matching, okay? And now because I've spotted that this was x minus a and that was not going to be x minus a if I factorize this part, so then I went back and checked my working out. So that is really beneficial for this method, okay? How you can quickly check before carrying on and writing your answer. Yeah, so the way you factorize this is we can't really, because the x minus 4, there's no common factors, so we just pull out a factor of 1 and put the x minus 4 in brackets, okay? And that's, now you can see that these 2 are matching, okay? And it's still all equal to 0. Now it's a case of finding my second bracket. So I've already got 1, which is x minus 4. It's common in both parts, okay? So that's part of my answer. The other bracket is formed by looking at the factors outside the bracket. So that's 2x and positive 1, okay? And all I do is just combine them. So 2x and then plus 1 from here, okay? And this is all equal to 0. So that is basically my answer, okay? But they've told us to solve it, so that means they want actually what x is equal, not just the factorized form. So I'm going to show you here actually the rest of the question on this piece of paper. Question 13. So we got to this bit. Okay, and also remember what I told you about leaving what did I say, the inequality symbol out. But now we're going to bring the inequality symbol back in because we have finished the question, but we need to bring back the inequality symbol so that we can solve it as an inequality, okay, and show our answer in the right form. So I'm going to go ahead and replace that now. So x minus 4, it says is less than 0, and 2x plus 1 is also less than 0. So now it's a case of us solving these 2 inequalities and seeing what is x actually greater or less than, okay? So that means in this case the way we solve it is we're just going to bring that negative 4 to the other side, okay, and do the inverse. Well, the way we do that is we add 4 to both sides, so it becomes x is actually less than positive 4, okay? In this case we're going to have 2 steps. So if I get rid of the brackets, 2x plus 1 is less than 0. I'm going to get rid of this, take it to the other side, so I'm going to minus 1 to both sides, inverse. These cancel out, and then I'm left with 2x is less than negative 1. And then here now the last step, I'm going to again do an inverse operation of divide by 2, okay? And that means I am now going to be left with x. X is less than negative 1 over 2. Okay, and that's my 2 answers. And I can leave them as it is, or I can write them again just to make it very clear what my 2 answers will be. So x is less than 4 is one of the answers, and then x is less than negative a half is the other answer, okay, for that question. If you've got any questions so far, let me know. If you need any other clarifications about that method, let me know. So that was a quadratic inequality which we were solving, almost like a quadratic equation. Thank you for the follows. We've got Zakia. Just followed. Oops. Brilliant, Jack. I'm pleased that you're following along and you are taking it all on board. I'm afraid I'm gonna have to go now. I've just checked the time. It is 11 p.m. And definitely I think it's gonna take one more live session to finish these. Okay, rest of the questions off. Okay. Well, yeah, thank you for joining the live and following along, and I hope it did benefit people that were watching in different, bobbing in and out. And like I mentioned, if you become a subscriber, you get the opportunity to pick the next live session topic, and also have other numerous benefits from there as well. So yeah, become a subscriber, and again, if you also want tuition, separate tuition, you can contact me for that as well. Okay, I'll see you in the next live session. Give my account a follow and have a good rest of the evening. No problem. Thank you very much, Jack of Ace, for coming along. Okay, thank you everyone. I'll see you in the next live session.